Welcome to this edition of the Phoenix House Seminar Series, produced by the National Clinical Training Department at Phoenix House Foundation. My name is Jessica Knoll, and I'm a clinical trainer in the New York Clinical Training Department. Today, our seminar topic is alcohol. At this time, your group facilitator will hand out a pamphlet that goes along with today's curriculum. The pamphlet is yours, so feel free to write on it and use it for notes. Every now and then, we will pause this video and your group facilitator will process some of the information we discuss with you. We would love to hear your thoughts on today's topic, so we want to encourage you to participate. Some people who consume alcoholic beverages experience few problems as a result of their drinking. However, for others, alcohol consumption is associated with harmful health and social consequences, largely as a result of their drinking patterns. Education around alcohol consumption is therefore an important tool in recovery. 17 million adults suffer from alcohol abuse. 88,000 people die from alcohol-related causes annually. Today we will cover 4 topics. First, we will clarify what alcohol is and how it affects our bodies. Second, we will explain what alcohol does. Then we will cover what it means to have an alcohol addiction, at which point we will have an open discussion. Finally, we will unpack the medical consequences that may come along with this disease. We hope you find this information helpful, and if you have any questions, please take a moment to write them down so that you can ask them to your group facilitator during each intermission. Let's begin by talking about what alcohol is and what it is used for. Alcohol is a depressant, meaning that when a person drinks alcohol, it slows down vital bodily functions and results in slurred speech, nausea, and dizziness. The active component of commonly known alcoholic beverages, such as beer, wine, and liquor, is ethyl alcohol, or ethanol. Ethanol is produced by the fermentation of yeast, sugars, and starches. It is further concentrated through a distillation process, which removes excess water. Ethanol in its purest form is poisonous to the human body. When we drink, our liver must work hard to filter the poisonous chemicals out through our pores. This makes the liver the poison filtering system of our body. Some of the main reasons people use alcohol are to reduce anxiety, help with sleep, to forget, to numb difficult emotions, or to let loose. Because alcohol is a sedative drug, over time, you will need more alcohol to have the same effect. Now let's move on to what alcohol does. Firstly, alcohol changes behavior. How does it do that? Alcohol travels from the stomach to the blood. The blood carries alcohol everywhere in the body, but it's when alcohol reaches the brain that it makes us intoxicated. It is at this point that alcohol slows down our vital bodily processes. This slowing down effect is responsible for the inability to react quickly while under the influence of alcohol. Can you think of some examples of how alcohol consumption has slowed you down? At low levels, alcohol slows you down through your movements, like slurred speech, losing your coordination, or staggering walks. At moderate levels, it can slow down decision-making processes, resulting in bad decisions about what you say and do. And it may even slow down your emotions, giving you feelings that you wouldn't normally have. At high levels, alcohol slows down memory functions, resulting in difficulty with remembering, and periods of blackouts. It can also slow down your breathing, which results in passing out, alcohol poisoning, and even death. Before we move on to talk about alcohol addiction, we will pause here and your facilitator will answer any questions you may have and listen to your comments. Now let's take a look at some true life stories about the effects of alcohol addiction.
Hi, my name is Elsie Otachi. I work as a client service executive with Canon Group. I'm 33 years old. Growing up, my childhood was great. I had a nice time. Well, everything was okay, except for the alcohol. There was alcohol stocked in the house. My father used to drink. I had friends who had dared, when the parents were not around. Most of the time when we were out during the weekend, some would come with those stories and tell us, my folks are not in, and we can try this, try that. And you're out there, being told all these things about alcohol, and here you are watching on TV that it looks so cool. My dad's drinking, well, it didn't affect me as much when I was younger because he didn't do it obviously at home as much as the drinks were there and we could see them. There was pressure from, from school to be different, and at home there's that pressure to remain true to who I am. In Form 1, I was the type that liked to, study and be the teacher's pet. In Form 2, that's when I got to discover who people really are. And people started opening up, and you could tell who goes out, who drinks, who doesn't. And I wanted to fit in right from primary. There was that issue of trying to fit in. So for me, when I discovered the people who actually drink, it hit home, like there's alcohol in the house. One time I was in a matatu and the driver asked me to buy him a cigarette. And I had a few coins of my own, so I got him a cigarette, and I didn't get back into the matatu immediately, so I went home. I actually went, at the back of the house, and I lit my cigarette. Hopefully no one was seeing me. I lit the cigarette and I smoked it. For me, that was the best feeling ever. The first time, I felt kind of high. My dad used to keep his drinks in a box, a carton in the fireplace. And since I knew where they were kept, and I knew he believes that none of his children can dare to touch, I dared, but I went for the vodkas that were colorless, Why I did that is so that I could top up his drink with water. I remember one time my mom came and found me seated on the couch, and she's asking me, "What are you drinking?" I told her, "It's just juice, and that Quenta you bought the other day." I gave the drugs more priority over going to class, over having to do any assignments. They were not really as important as me being, getting my high. I had to have my drink. I remember one time I'd just come from Kawangware. I'd gone home to have a change of clothes. And actually the guy who sells me Mira, the wife had promised me half a kilo of Mira, and some friends had promised me drinks that night. I got home and I found some visitors home, and from that discussion with them, I got to know they're associated with rehab. And at the end of the day, he told me, it's either we jail you for shoplifting or you accept to go to rehab. I went to rehab and really pretended for a whole month. I pretended to be a good girl. And the same day I was released, after that month, I was back at it. I came back home pregnant. I'd also not known the signs of someone who's pregnant. I was so ignorant of so many things. I asked my mom to go with me to church, and I went to church and I got born again. And from then on, I can say the challenges are there, but it's easier to own up and stop lying to yourself that you don't have a problem when you really know you do have one. When you have someone who's there to help you, it doesn't matter whether it's your family or your friends. If there's that one person who believes in you, I think it's time you just listen to that person and to the voice in your heart that tells you, it's time for a change.
That was a powerful video, and we can all empathize with the people who shared their stories. We'd like to take a few minutes now to process this video together, and if you had any mixed emotions as a result of this video, now or in your individual sessions would be a great place to share them. Now let's talk about alcohol addiction. Alcohol addiction is a pattern of drinking that results in harm to one's health and interpersonal relationships. After watching this video, we can see that many alcohol addicts have different patterns of drinking. They could binge drink, which is drinking in very high doses, but not every day. They could daily drink, which is instead drinking every day to intoxication. And they could be maintenance drinkers, which involves drinking every day to not allow for the alcohol to ever leave the body. Alcohol to intoxication does not necessarily mean drunk. According to the Addiction Severity Index, 5 or more drinks in one setting or within a brief period of time defines intoxication. So how does alcohol addiction begin? Sometimes alcoholism develops suddenly in response to a genetic predisposition from a family history of alcoholism or due to a stressful change, such as a breakup, retirement, or loss. Other times, it gradually creeps up on you as your tolerance to alcohol increases. If a person is a binge drinker or drinks every day, the risks of developing alcoholism are even greater. This type of addiction, like many others, can begin at different time periods. It can start in adolescence, adulthood, or even childhood. Although signs and symptoms of alcoholism manifest differently, let's look at 6 symptoms that alcohol addicts have in common. And you can consider if any of these resonate with any of you. The 6 symptoms are high tolerance for alcohol, which allows them to drink excessively, always requiring a higher dose for the same effect. They often cannot predict or control how they will act or how much they will drink. For example, they may decide to have 2 drinks one night, but then they will end up intoxicated because they were not able to stop drinking after those 2 drinks. They have a hard time cutting down or stopping, even when they want to. There's a preoccupation with drinking, symbolized by spending a lot of time, money, and energy getting alcohol and recovering from hangovers. They may no longer participate in activities that they used to care about, such as work advancement, sports, investing in family, or their non-drinking friends. They keep drinking even though it causes them serious legal, financial, and family problems. They just don't stop. Common signs of alcohol abuse include drinking to de-stress. This means getting drunk repeatedly after a very stressful day, a fight with your boss, friend, or spouse. The question one must ask is, will I always drink when I feel stressed? There's continued drinking despite relationship problems, where alcohol is causing or making problems worse in your relationships with your friends, family, or spouse, and you continue to drink. A good warning sign is when different people in your life have pointed out that they don't like the way you act when you drink. People may repeatedly neglect their responsibilities. Because of drinking, you repeatedly neglect responsibilities at home, work, or school. For example, neglecting your children, or skipping out on work, school, personal or social commitments because you're hungover. They may use alcohol in dangerous situations. You use alcohol in situations where it can be physically dangerous, such as drinking and driving, drinking in a bad neighborhood, or mixing alcohol with prescription medication against the advice of your doctor. There may be legal problems due to drinking. This means you're experiencing repeated legal problems due to your drinking. For example, getting arrested for fights, drunk and disorderly conduct, domestic disputes, driving under the influence, etc. Can you see any of these problems in your life? Let's pause here and look at the handout, Mapping Progress and Future Plans. This worksheet will help you apply the information you're learning here to your own personal experiences. Your facilitator will provide 1 or 2 examples from their own professional or personal experience to help you along. I'm so glad you took that time to reflect. Let's discuss now the most important part of this seminar: medical consequences. Alcohol abuse poses great dangers to one's physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual health. In addition to serious ramifications for one's career, family, and friends, alcoholism can cause irreversible damage to critical organs and body systems and is associated with dangerous withdrawal symptoms. Withdrawal is a group of symptoms that occur as a result of abruptly stopping or significantly reducing the use of alcohol. Damage from heavy alcohol use can be catastrophic to the heart, liver, stomach, intestines, pancreas, muscles, bones, immune system, and even the brain. Alcohol is one of the only drugs that actually kills brain cells. Even when alcohol abusers make an attempt to stop alcohol consumption, they risk serious medical complications due to withdrawal. Withdrawal symptoms include tremors, convulsions, or uncontrolled shaking of the hands, or even the entire body, profuse sweating, even in cold conditions, extreme agitation or anxiety, persistent insomnia, nausea or vomiting, seizures, and even hallucinations. To safely stop the use of alcohol, we encourage you to do so under proper medical advice and supervision. Alcohol contributes significantly to accidents and impacts judgment, perception, and reaction times. Problem-solving skills are also impaired. Additionally, many people who are under the influence of alcohol do not consider the consequences of their actions and behaviors on others, which puts other people in harm's way, even those closest to us. These factors all can contribute to an increase in the risk of being involved in or causing an accident. Accidents can include injuries, drowning, home fires, workplace accidents, and vehicle accidents. 79,000 deaths each year in the United States are attributed to alcohol problems. Alcohol-related car crashes occur every 48 minutes in the United States, and there are about 30 deaths each day as a result. 50,000 cases of alcohol overdose are reported each year, as well as over 14,000 deaths due to alcoholic liver disease. 80% of family members report an impaired ability to perform at work as a result of living with an alcohol abuser or alcoholic. We can all see by now that alcohol use has serious medical consequences. Alcohol is no different than any other drug addiction, and alcohol only intensifies with the use of other drugs. Drug effects and patterns of drug use are different, but the basic symptoms are the same. Most people who get addicted to other drugs cannot drink safely either, and that's why programs like Narcotics Anonymous emphasize the importance of an addict to stay away from alcohol as well as drugs. With that, we conclude our seminar on alcohol. We discussed what alcohol is, what it does, the addiction behind alcohol, and the medical consequences of alcohol use. Thank you for listening to today's seminar and for your active participation. We want to encourage you to discuss any important relapse experiences you may have had in this group. And please discuss any additional relevant information with your individual or group counselor. We're here to help. Remember, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Today you've taken an important first step on the road to your recovery. Be well.